Well, good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Handrahan. We start with some breaking news. Stevens County Emergency Management reporting there is a fast-moving wildfire in the Arden northwest area of the Little Ponderay campground. Level 3 go-now evacuations are in place from Miller Road to Mahoney Road, Miller Road to Hotchkiss, and west of Raska Way. That fire jumped Armand Gibson, and the road in that area is now cut off. Right now, the fire sits at 75 acres. We are working to gather more information. We will make sure to bring it to you right here on the air, as well as KREM.com and over on our streaming app, KREM 2+. On that note, we want to jump right to the weekend forecast and talk weather with Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. Jeremy, a third wildfire now burning in Stevens County. It's hot again today, and we also have a bit of wind. Not necessarily a good recipe.
No, not at all. And it seems to be a pattern that we are stuck in this summer. We get nice and hot, wind picks up, we cool down ever so slightly, and today is no exception. However, 85 degrees, a little bit cooler than where we could be. This is a great way to put it. 85 is still pretty close to the seasonal norms, and with the wind out of the west-southwest at 18 miles per hour, gusting to almost 30, we do have those fire weather conditions. Lake Spokane fire, Hope fire, and now the Arden fire is still burning, or Arden Canyon fire up there. That's the one just to the southeast of Colville. Wind is going to stay strong for, I would say, the next few hours. Not until the sun goes down, and keep in mind that's not until about 8:30, do we see the wind die down completely. We'll see those gusts up around 25 miles per hour for the next couple of hours, which is going to fan the flames of those fires. You combine the hot, dry atmosphere, and that fire just burns more aggressively. That's just how it works. There's our low pressure center and our cold front, not quite moving in, not quite going to hit us, but enough to make a difference. By tomorrow morning, you're gonna notice those temperatures just trending slightly cooler than today. And by tomorrow afternoon, we trend just slightly cooler than today. Mid-80s pretty widespread across the region. And Sunday looks similar before we warm up and calm down even more on Monday.
Good, Jeremy, thank you very much. New tonight, a project aimed at making an economic boom in Spokane Valley is almost up and running. KREM 2's Christian Garza joining us live to talk more about the project and what still needs to be done before it's up and running. Christian?
Well, right now, crews are working around the clock to finish this multi-million-dollar cross-country course, but the city still has to overcome one hurdle before they can use it, and that's waiting for grass to grow. Now, this world-class cross-country course, simply named The Course, is a 46-acre project Spokane Sports, along with the city of Spokane Valley, has been working on for several years. The course is a $7 million project aimed to really be an economic boom for the area. Now, this project will primarily be funded through lodging taxes from the surrounding area and is expected to attract athletes at all skill levels, as well as visitors that will shop, eat, and stay here in the valley. Despite still being months away from completion, though, Spokane Sports has already secured a number of events to be held here at the site, most of which are in 2026 and 2027. However, a few conferences are scheduled for as early as this fall. But before anyone can step foot on the course, like I mentioned earlier, the grass needs time to set. Something Spokane Sports CEO Ashley Blake says was something crews planned for before construction even started.
I want to be clear, events are not canceled for 2025. From the onset, our intent has been to retain them in Spokane County. We have several sport governing bodies that are very eager to come to Spokane Valley and compete. They want to come here on a rotational basis, on a multi-year commitment. So I think it really underscores the reputation that we're building for a high caliber running facility in Spokane Valley.
Both Blake and the city say construction for the course is on time and under budget. The decision on whether or not to have the events at the course this fall will be decided about 6 to 8 weeks before those events. Now, Blake says despite scheduling some events earlier, or for this fall, the goal or the championship season was always meant to be 2026. In Spokane Valley, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
All right, Christian, thank you very much. An Arizona judge sentenced so-called Doomsday Mom Lori Ballo-Daybell to life in prison today. She was found guilty of conspiring to commit murder in 2 separate trials earlier this year. Ballo-Daybell is already serving 3 life sentences in Idaho for murders, including her 2 youngest children. Investigators say the 52-year-old believed evil spirits had taken over some people, including the children. In April, an Arizona jury found her guilty of conspiring with her late brother in the 2019 killing of her 4th husband, Charles Ballo. Relatives of the victims spoke ahead of her sentencing.
You spent your entire life chasing cameras, applause, and validation like oxygen, but here you are, exposed, convicted, stripped of the lies you wrapped yourself in.
Also spoke to the court. She blamed an unfair justice system for her punishments, and she appeared to wink toward the victims' families as she left the courtroom. KREM 2 News is digging deeper into the story that we first brought you yesterday. Spokane Police Department's new guidelines on dealing with a surge in immigration arrests. In our effort to bring you more to every story, KREM 2 Shannon Mowdy sat down with the police chief one-on-one. Shannon?
Well, Spokane police officers got this training bulletin last week, and this morning, Police Chief Kevin Hall told me that these new guidelines come directly from fears and concerns from community members regarding increased ICE activity. Spokane's police department is adapting to a changing law enforcement environment, increasing federal ICE arrests, prompting a change in protocol for local officers under Chief Kevin Hall.
So what we did here is just provide sort of an outline, a framework for the officers in these types of incidents.
The new guidelines came after hearing fear and concern in community meetings.
The very legitimate question from the community is, how do we know who these folks are and what they're doing is legal?
SPD officers are now being trained to ask for a federal agent supervisor and request credentials when responding to calls about possible immigration enforcement.
This is very new, actually. This didn't exist prior to us creating it, because what we're seeing right now didn't exist.
What they're seeing now, federal agents concealing their identities behind masks and generic police gear.
The tactics that we're seeing now, I haven't seen before, not here and certainly not in my previous city, Tucson. And the aggressiveness with which the tactics are being applied.
Chief Hall says even if some people perceive these federal actions as illegal, SPD cannot step in if the agents are legitimate. But he says they'll be there if that's ever in question.
We will respond to these calls if you're afraid, if you don't believe this is a legitimate action, if you don't believe that these are authentic federal agents, to call.
Now, Chief Hall tells me he has shared these new SPD guidelines with local immigration enforcement, and he says they've been supportive of this. KREM 2 News also reached out to Latinos in Spokane for their perspective or response to SPD's protocol. We haven't yet heard back. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Very much. All right, when we come back, we'll have sports. Longtime Mariners outfielder Ichiro Suzuki prepares to go into the Hall of Fame. We go over his legendary career and why he still helps out that team in retirement. Plus, President Trump heads to Scotland to golf and talk tariffs. We'll let you know what he said ahead of next week's tariff deadline.